Canned tuna should be one of the cheapest and easiest ways to add protein to your meals. Yet not every can on the shelf delivers the same quality, transparency, or value. Some brands reveal very little about where their fish comes from or how it is tested. Others have been linked to serious corporate investigations that many shoppers know nothing about. And that expensive can with premium-looking packaging may be no better than the cheaper option beside it. We compared 7 popular tuna brands, and only 2 truly stood out. Stay until the end, because one brand marketed as the safer choice carries a nutrition label detail most buyers overlook. Before we rank these brands, here is exactly what we examined. We examined how clearly each company identifies the tuna species, where the fish originates, whether mercury testing is disclosed, how much sodium is in the can, and whether the brand provides meaningful third-party certifications. We also considered company history, ingredient quality, and whether the price genuinely matches the value. We also compared how much useful information each label gives shoppers before they make a quick decision in a crowded grocery aisle every week. This is not about creating panic or claiming that every inexpensive can is dangerous. It is about helping you look beyond the front label and know which questions to ask before placing another can in your cart. At number 7 is Genova, a brand that appears premium before the can is even opened. The Italian name, the olive oil presentation, and the higher price all create the impression of something carefully sourced and crafted with Mediterranean-style quality. It feels like the kind of product that should be better simply because it appears more refined on the shelf. But premium branding is not the same as full transparency. Before paying extra, check whether the label clearly identifies the tuna species, fishing region, catch method, and exact type of oil used. When those details remain vague, the higher price becomes harder to justify. You may be paying more for the story printed on the label than for any meaningful difference in the fish inside the can. At number 6 is Market Pantry, Target's private label tuna. The clean packaging and slightly higher price can make it seem like a step above the cheapest store brands. Many shoppers assume that paying a little more means better sourcing, tighter quality control, or a more carefully selected product. But the Target name does not reveal who actually caught the fish or which company processed it. Private label suppliers can change while the packaging remains exactly the same. That does not automatically make the tuna unsafe, but it can make traceability harder when the label offers only limited information about the species, fishing area, or catch method. Before buying, check whether the can clearly names the tuna species, fishing region, and any credible third-party certification. A polished label may feel reassuring, but appearances do not always reveal what is happening behind the supply chain. At number 5 is Great Value, one of the most common budget options in the canned tuna aisle. For families trying to reduce grocery costs, the appeal is obvious. Tuna is affordable, convenient, and easy to store. Yet with a private label product, the Walmart name on the front does not necessarily identify the company that caught or processed the fish inside. The supplier may change from one production period to another, while the can design stays familiar and unchanged. Again, that does not mean every can is unsafe. The concern is transparency. When the label provides very little information about sourcing, catch method, or independent certification, shoppers have fewer ways to confirm what they are buying. Before placing it in your cart, look beyond the low price. Check the species, sodium level, country of origin, and every sourcing claim on the back. A cheaper can may save money, but only when you understand exactly what that lower price covers, and what information may be missing. At number 4 is Chicken of the Sea, one of the most familiar names in the canned tuna aisle. For generations, families have recognized the mermaid logo and trusted the brand simply because it has always been there. That sense of familiarity is powerful. When a product has been sitting in kitchens for decades, many shoppers stop questioning who owns it, where the fish comes from, or how its supply chain operates. But familiarity should never replace transparency. Chicken of the Sea belongs to a large international seafood operation, which means the tuna may pass through a complex global network before reaching the grocery shelf. That makes questions about sourcing, labor practices, traceability, and independent oversight even more important. The can may look almost unchanged from the one your family bought years ago, yet everything behind that label may have changed. Before buying, look beyond the mascot. Check the species, catch method, sourcing claims, and whether the company offers clear, verifiable information about how the fish reaches the can. At number 3 is Bumble Bee, another brand that has held a trusted place in American kitchens for decades. But behind that familiar label lies a corporate history many shoppers may not know about. A former Bumble Bee executive was convicted in connection with a federal price-fixing conspiracy involving the canned tuna industry. That case was not about proving that every can of Bumble Bee tuna was unsafe. It concerned competition, pricing, and whether consumers were paying prices that had been influenced behind closed doors. And that raises a serious trust problem. When shoppers buy a familiar brand, they expect the company to compete honestly, price its products fairly, and provide clear information about what they are purchasing. Once that trust is damaged, the label begins to look different. The question is no longer simply whether the tuna tastes good. It becomes whether a company with a history of misleading the market deserves that same automatic confidence it once received. At number 2 is Star-Kist, one of the most recognizable tuna brands in the country. Its bright packaging and famous mascot have helped build generations of customer loyalty. Yet Star-Kist was also connected to the same federal price-fixing investigation and later pleaded guilty to criminal charges. Again, this does not mean that every Star-Kist product is unsafe to eat. Pricing misconduct and food safety are separate matters, and they should not be confused. But the case exposed something important about consumer trust. If a company has already admitted to manipulating prices, should shoppers automatically accept every other promise printed on the package without asking more questions? Should brand familiarity outweigh corporate history? Or should buyers examine sourcing, ingredients, Mercury information, and value more closely before placing another can in the cart? Tell us, would that history change your choice? At number 1 is Safe Catch Elite, a brand that has built much of its reputation around one powerful promise: testing each fish for mercury before it is canned. That is a meaningful commitment, especially for shoppers who are particularly concerned about mercury exposure, including pregnant women, parents of young children, and people who eat tuna regularly. But one strong safety claim should not stop you from reading the rest of the label. Safe Catch is often priced at a premium, and depending on the variety, shoppers should still compare sodium levels, serving size, ingredient list, and cost per can. A product can perform well in one category without automatically becoming the best choice in every category. The mercury testing may offer a genuine advantage, but it is only one part of the full picture. So which two brands deliver the strongest overall combination of traceability, simple ingredients, clear sourcing, and value? Let's look at the better choices. The second better choice is American Tuna, a brand that delivers something many larger companies struggle to provide: a simpler and more traceable supply chain. This appeal is not flashy packaging or a famous mascot. It comes from the clearer information behind the product. American Tuna emphasizes domestic sourcing, specific catch regions, and a shorter ingredient list that is easier for shoppers to understand. That transparency makes its higher price easier to justify. American Tuna may cost more than many supermarket brands, and it may not be available in every local store. Yet when a company clearly explains where the fish was caught, how it was processed, and what is inside the can, shoppers are better positioned to decide whether the product is worth the extra cost. For buyers who value traceability, simple ingredients, and a more direct supply chain, American Tuna remains one of the stronger options to consider. The strongest overall choice is Wild Planet, a brand that places much of its emphasis on clearer sourcing, selective fishing methods, and simple ingredients. Several Wild Planet tuna products highlight pole-in line or other selective catch methods, depending on the specific variety. These methods can make identifying the target species easier while reducing unnecessary bycatch compared with some large-scale fishing practices. The ingredient lists are also often straightforward, helping shoppers understand exactly what they are buying without searching through a long list of added ingredients. Wild Planet is not the cheapest option in the tuna aisle. Yet unlike many lower-priced or more familiar brands, it generally gives shoppers more information about sourcing, fishing methods, and how the tuna was handled. That added transparency is partly what the higher price is paying for. You are not simply buying a can of tuna. You are paying for a clearer opportunity to understand where the fish came from, how it was caught, and what went into the final product. The lesson is not that every inexpensive can of tuna is dangerous, or that every premium brand is automatically better. The real difference is how much useful information each company gives you before you buy. Check the tuna species, fishing method, sodium level, ingredient list, mercury information, and sourcing details. When the front of the can makes bold promises but the back offers only vague answers, another option may be worth choosing. Now tell us, which tuna brand is currently in your kitchen, and was it featured on this list? Share your answer in the comments and subscribe to Quick Frugal for more honest grocery comparisons designed to help you shop smarter, waste less, and get better value for your money.